President William Ruto is gulping in fear after Gachagua and Sifuna hatches a plan of ending him. Welcome to Kenya Lens Media. We bring you news updates as they break. Kindly, if you're new here, consider subscribing. Now, Kenya's political landscape is shifting and the road to 2027 is growing more uncertain. President William Ruto now faces pressure from both outside and within familiar political ground. With just about 16 months to the 2027 general election, President William Ruto is confronting a rapidly changing political environment marked by divided opposition and emerging internal dissent, factors that are steadily complicating his path to re-election. The political battle ahead of the 2027 is no longer defined by a single united opposition front. Instead, it's evolving into a complex context shaped by multiple power centers, competing narratives, and also shifting alliances. At the center of this transformation is President William Ruto, whose re-election strategy is increasingly being tested from different directions at the same time. Initially, the most visible threat appeared to come from a coalition of seasoned political leaders forming what is known as a united alternative government. This grouping brings together experienced figures such as Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, Eugene Wamalwa, and Justin Muturi. They have aligned themselves with the former Deputy President Gachagua, who has now emerged as one of the president's most vocal critics. This coalition represents a calculated effort to consolidate opposition strength and present a credible alternative ahead of the next election. Among them, Gachagua has taken a particularly aggressive approach, and his focus has largely been on the Mount Kenya region, a key voting bloc that played a decisive role in the 2022 election. In recent public appearances, he has projected confidence in his influence over the region, signaling a determined effort to shift political loyalty away from the president. His messaging has gone beyond general criticism, and it has directly targeted the government's handling of key sectors, including agriculture, with a particular focus on the coffee industry. By raising concerns about how challenges in the sector are being addressed, he is attempting to reshape public perception and also challenge the credibility of the administration. And this approach is not only political but strategic. It aims to weaken the president's support in one of the most critical regions in the country. And however, even as this external opposition gains momentum, another layer of complexity is emerging from within traditional opposition ranks. The Orange Democratic Movement, long considered a cornerstone of opposition politics, is now experiencing internal division. This split has given rise to two distinct factions, each with its own direction and political posture. And on one side is a pro-government wing associated with Oburu Odinga under the Linda Ground banner, and this group has shown a willingness to engage with the government and support aspects of its development agenda. On the other side is the Linda Mwananchi faction led by Sifuna, and this camp has taken a sharply critical stance against the administration. It is this faction that is now gaining increasing attention across the country. The rise of the Linda Mwananchi movement signals a shift in how opposition politics is being conducted. Rather than relying solely on elite alliances, the movement is focusing on grassroots engagement and issue-based mobilization. It is tapping into public concerns that cut across regions and demographics, and at public rallies, the messaging has been clear and consistent. Issues such as land ownership, economic hardship, and governance challenges are being brought to the forefront. In coastal regions, for instance, the focus has been on long-standing land injustices. And by addressing specific regional grievances, the movement is building a connection within local communities, and this strategy is helping it expand its reach beyond traditional political strongholds. From Kitengela to Kakamega, Narok to Coast, the movement is steadily establishing a national presence, and each rally adds to its visibility and strengthens its network. Behind the scenes, there are also efforts to build organizational capacity. Plans are underway to establish a central coordination structure aimed at improving messaging and outreach. This indicates a long-term approach rather than a short-term political campaign, and the support from leaders such as James Orengo and Godfrey Ososi is also reinforcing the movement's structure and influence. The involvement adds both experience and credibility to the initiative, and at the same time, critical demographic factor is shaping the broader political landscape. An estimated 6.3 million Gen Z voters are expected to participate in the 2027 election. This group represents a significant portion of the electorate and holds the potential to influence the outcome in a decisive way. Many among this demographic have expressed dissatisfaction with the current economic conditions and the governance issues. Concerns around unemployment, cost of living, and access to opportunities are particularly prominent, and there is also growing sensitivity to issues of accountability and transparency, and this has made the youth vote one of the most contested spaces in the political arena. And for President William Ruto, this presents a dual challenge. He must not only respond to the organized opposition led by Gachagua and his allies, but also address the grassroots-driven momentum of Sifuna-led faction. These two are two different political forces. One is structures around established leaders and regional influence. The other is driven by public sentiment and localized issues. Managing both requires a careful balance of strategy, communication, and policy delivery. So far, the president has maintained a firm and consistent position. He has dismissed the criticism from the opponents and also emphasized his administration's development record. His message has been clear that the next election will be a judgment of performance rather than political rhetoric. This framing is intended to shift the focus towards tangible achievement and also ongoing projects. However, the evolving political dynamics suggest that this approach may face increasing pressure, and the presence of multiple opposition fronts means that the political conversation is becoming more fragmented. Different groups are shaping different narratives, each targeting specific audiences, and this fragmentation makes it harder to control the overall political message. It also creates an environment where public opinion can shift more rapidly, and as alliances continue to evolve and new voices emerge, the path to 2027 is becoming less predictable. The convergence of regional influence from figures like Gachagua and grassroots mobilization led by Sifuna is shaping a new political reality, and this reality where no single force dominates the opposition space. Instead, political and multiple movements are competing for influence, and each with its own strategy and support base. For voters, this means more choices and more competing narratives, and the president, it means navigating more complex and demanding political environment. And for the country, it signals an election that could be defined not just by personalities but also by how effectively leaders respond to the concerns of ordinary citizens. As the Kenya moves closer to the 2027, the political ground is shifting beneath familiar alliances, leaving outcome to be shaped by not only certainty, but by the voices and choices of a changing nation. That is all from Kenya Lens, at least for now. Kindly, if you are new here, consider subscribing, liking and sharing our contents. Equally, hit the notification bell and turn it on so that you can be receiving notifications each and every time we upload a new content.